keys. Got the invitation. Lights out.
Who's a gorgeous warthog? You are. Look at you.
Pumbaa, we have to go. I don't want to be late. You've been staring at yourself for hours. Trust me, it's not going to get any better.
Try to relax, Timon.
The ceremony to present the new king is at noon. You know it's going to be a jungle out there.
Hey gang, welcome to another exciting adventure of the Grand Circle Tour podcast Detour edition. I'll be your captain today, Captain Stan Solo, and I'm here with two of my favorite co-hosts and a very special guest. We'll introduce him shortly, but let's start off with our co-host. George, how are you today, my buddy?
I'm doing good, Stan. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm great. We're here to talk about none other than the Lion King, so hey, it's got to be good, right? Or is it? We'll find out. Jason, how are you?
Aloha, Stan. I am fantastic. How you doing?
I am amazing. But you already knew that.
You
Let's get to our guests. We have John Saccarelli from Florida, from Orlando, Florida. Did I get his name right? It'd be the first time ever if I did.
It is fine, but you never get it right now. If you did get it right, I'd be upset. So it's Sakari, but that's fine. I'll take
Okay.
Sakari.
I'll get it right for the next one. It can't be a movie review without John, and it can't be a movie review if I don't pronounce his name incorrectly. I don't know. His name is always wrong for me. Anyways, we are here to review The Lion King, and as per usual, we'll start off going spoiler-free. We'll take a quick pause, and then we'll come back into the spoiler part of the movie. So if you've seen the movie, you can listen to the entire show. If you haven't, you still can't listen to the entire show, but you might want to see the movie first. I want to go around quickly, just kind of get a feel for everybody's thoughts. We haven't talked about it too much. This obviously is a remake from the 1994 animated feature, The Lion King, and this is a live action? John, would you say this is a live action, or what would you call this?
I definitely call it live action because to say animated confuses me. Otherwise, technically it's animated, but I think we have to call it something else.
Yeah, it's kind of live action. And what did you think of this one as a whole?
I really enjoyed it, but I questioned so much. Like, I just questioned, why did we do it if it's so close to the cartoon? But visually it was stunning, and I did fall under its spell.
Oh, 100%. It was a absolutely stunning film. As I'm watching this, I'm thinking to myself, I could pause right now and print this, hang it on my wall.
Absolutely.
I could pause this right now. I could print this and hang it on my wall. Every single frame. You could pause, print, photo, and hang.
It also convinced me that, when we think we're seeing a live animal, I now know they could fool me enough that I will never know when it's real and not.
From a distance. When they're up close, you can kind of tell.
I don't know. Listen, when I looked at this warthog up close, I still thought this was a real animal.
Yeah?
I got to hear what Jason and George say.
Yeah, Jason, what did you think? Did it look like a real animal the entire movie, or were there times where you were like, wow, this isn't quite...
This was like a Walt Disney true life adventure film come to life that just happened to be The Lion King. I do have an answer to you guys about if it's animated or not animated. There's the animated version, and this is the more animated version.
In a way, I almost feel it's less animated because they're trying to go for the realistic look. They can't animate expressions very much. You know what I mean? And I think that kind of took away from the
Definitely.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more in the spoiler part. But yeah, it wasn't emotional like I would say the 1994 one was. George, what did you think?
Well, I do have an answer for that, but I'll save that for the spoilers. I agree with Jay that it felt like a true life adventures right from the gate, and I was worried more so that if they had to do something live action, so to speak, with The Lion King, I think they did it really well as far as the look of the animals themselves.
George, when they were close up, though, weren't you still convinced the animals looked very real, or could you tell?
Definitely. It's almost like they were, and I hate using this term, they looked soulless.
Yeah.
But yet that's how real animals look in the wild. They just have that blank stare. And, I was going to save it for the spoilers, but it is a non-spoiler. I think the reason why they went with that, and I'm sitting in the theater looking and I'm thinking, why didn't Jon Favreau do it where they have more expression? Because I think he wanted to make it as realistic as possible to the real thing.
Yeah.
Separating it from the animated where, you could give them quirky facial expressions. He wanted them to look in, no matter what the situation may be, they would always have that same look on their face as they would in real life.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Now, does anyone know that technically, as speaking of between live action and animated, it was 99.9% computers, but there was one scene that Jon Favreau actually shot real life in Africa, but he didn't say what it was.
Really?
Yes, there is one scene, and I watched a behind the scenes of The Lion King and the history and the origin on ABC. It was a special. I believe they had it on Good Morning America, and he was talking with Robin Roberts, and he had said that there is one live action scene that he had shot in Africa and snuck it in there.
Wow. Shows you how good everything looked that we don't know.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's also will help people go back over and over again to try to catch that scene. Now I got to go back another 12 times till I find it.
I'm not convinced you'll find it.
Yeah. We'll have to wait. Somebody will find it and they'll post it. And then
Getting back to what George said about the expressions, I'm almost thinking that they tried to do more emotional faces and realized it doesn't work unless we keep them very animal-like, because they did do that, and I think they tried to rely just on the voice acting for the emotion.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Jason, I never asked you, did you enjoy this film? Are you happy you saw it? Which one are you going to put in when you have a free moment, the animated one or this one?
Jason's in therapy over the film.
No, I really enjoyed this one. I just, the animals were a little too real for me. I'm going to always prefer the animated one. This is the one time in all of these remakes where I've had to put the brakes on it and go, I like this, but I'll always watch the animated one.
And George, how about you?
I really liked it. I really did. It's one of those things where you like it, but you're trying to find a flaw in it to say, I prefer the animated. It was done really well. I mean, I don't know. It was like
I feel the same way. I'm very confused. Notice that even us saying we like it, we're not very committed to that.
Okay,
we like it. We don't like it.
I have to say, coming out of the theater of The Jungle Book, I was all for it. I loved The Jungle Book. It was hands down. And I could say the same for The Lion King, but I didn't have that enthusiasm like I did with The Jungle Book.
Completely agree.
See, I absolutely loved this movie. I loved the visuals. I loved the voice acting. I loved the music. I even loved the quirky facial expressions that weren't there. Everything about this movie, I 100% just loved. It's probably my favorite movie of the year so far. I mean, Star Wars hasn't come out yet. No, Endgame. I like Endgame more, I have to say. Endgame was my favorite movie of the movie. So, but you know who else loved this? I'll tell you who loved this. Disney loves this movie, and I'll tell you why. The biggest domestic opening weekend of all time for a Disney remake. So, any remake, this is the best. The biggest Disney opening of all time outside of Marvel or Lucasfilm. This is including, it beat Pixar's 2018 Incredibles 2. Biggest opening weekend. The biggest domestic launch ever for a PG pick, animated or otherwise. The biggest July opening of all time for any movie. The biggest Earth domestic opening of all time. And overseas, The Lion King landed among the top 5 industry openings of all time in Russia, Brazil, Mexico, Australia, and the entire Latin American region. So people are going to see this movie. the theater wasn't full when I went. In fact, I had 2 empty seats right beside me on either side, which I love. I love having empty seats on either side of me when I go to a movie by
So
myself.
when people say, why does Disney keep doing these remakes? I want to say, it's the money. Look, it's working. They are making a lot of money. My theater was full also.
Yeah, it's people keep going. That's the thing. Jason?
I knew this movie was going to be huge because I don't know if you guys remember, but I remember when the original came out in '94. It was an instant part of the culture. It was so big. It was bigger than Frozen was in 2013.
Yeah, but I thought Mary Poppins 2 was going to be a cleanup at the box office also. So that's why I don't predict anymore, because I feel like I'm supposed to know and I don't all the time.
Well, and the Lion King itself is a complete juggernaut, no matter which way you take it. I mean, even the Broadway show, since its conception, it's the biggest Broadway show ever. It made over $9 billion.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think the Broadway show really helps it. The original remake that these kids are all now grown up want to see the remake of it, whereas Mary Poppins was a long time ago. I mean, yeah, our generation does, but our generation isn't like I'm in my 50s, aren't going to a heck of a lot of movies. It's the other thing too. I think that really helped this movie is a little female singer that was playing one of the voice characters, Beyonce. Anything she touches is going to be gold, and
and that had no pull from me at all. I don't know if anybody else.
Zero pull from myself, but I know she has legions of fans. She's bigger than life itself, and they're going to want to know what she's up to, right?
I mean, don't get me wrong. She played a great Nala, but it wasn't because of her that I said, "Oh, I have to see this film."
No, and we're not her audience, but her audience would go see it, especially in Latin America. It's the biggest movie of all time in Latin America. I think Beyonce was a bit of the pull for that. And what did we think of Danny Glover playing Simba?
Did a really good job, I think.
Donald Glover.
He was
Two
good.
great movies. Now, Solo and Lion King. I think I got a new favorite actor.
I'm just thinking of Danny Glover playing Simba now, and all I can hear is, I just can't wait to be king.
Yeah, Donald Glover. And then Seth Rogen as Pumbaa.
See, here's
always fun.
See, here's the thing. They all did good, but no matter what, like when I look at the character, like when I look at Pumbaa, I think of Ernie Sabella. When I look at Timon, I think of Nathan Lane. It's like one of those things where, but the actors fit this version of the movie.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, Billy Eichner stole it from me because he's now what I think of with Timon. I think, ha, 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 ha. What fun.
See, that kind of, those two were the two that kind of, I prefer the original more for myself.
Are we spoiling now? Should we do spoilers?
I don't think that's spoiling, but
Okay.
We're talking about the voice acting. Let's go into spoilers. I think we kind of talked about it. I think we all like it. I loved it. Let's go into the spoilers, and we can get more into detail as to why we loved it and why we liked it, and these emotions that didn't happened. We'll be right back.
Everything the light touches is our kingdom. But a king's time as ruler rises and falls like the sun. One day, the sun will set on my time here and will rise with you as the new king.
you, Jason, for putting that in. That was great. I loved hearing that. I talked a little bit at this beginning about the circle of life, and they kind of changed the circle of life a little bit in this movie. Timon and Pumbaa, they said there's no circle of life. It's a line of life. It's not a matter of you dying and becoming grass and then the antelope eats the grass. It's a matter of you eating me. And that's the line of life. I'm a line and then I'm dead. And then he goes and rips open a log and 10 of his best buddies come and eat 30 or 40 bugs. And that's the end of the line for those bugs. What did you guys think? Is it a circle of life or a line of life? John, let's start with you.
It's a line. He showed it. They showed you how it's a line. But I do get the circle also, how it all goes back to feeding the earth and all that. But it was,
George?
I thought that was pretty a good, I like the changes that they put in. There is one thing, when you're ready, that I'm mad that was taken out of the movie.
Go ahead. What were you mad about was taken out of the movie?
Rafiki's personality really wasn't there, and at no point did we hear Asante Sana squashed banana. Why? That wasn't something that could not have fit into this movie.
And he didn't have his walking stick the entire movie either, which was kind of...
Yeah, it came out like a lightsaber at the end.
Yeah, and he was like, the scene where, in the animated one, where he whacks Simba on the head and he goes, it doesn't matter, it's in the past, Hakuna Matata. That part wasn't there. That was a great part in the original.
But going back to what I was saying before, that is like the quirky, cartoony way of how animals would react in an animated environment. With a live action, I think that's where John wanted to make it more organic.
But they had the quirkiness in Timon and Pumbaa.
But I still think it was more like on a subtle base where I'm trying to think like more.
No,
more
Timon
like,
starts singing "Be Our Guest." It is not subtle.
Where it was, that's what I mean by like the organic way, where they have the comedic timing, but not the way it would be in an animated.
I don't know, George. I think if you were to whack him on the head with his cane, I don't think that would be too... I mean, yeah, a monkey's not going to hit a lion on the head with a cane in real life and get away with it. But...
They sang songs.
Grab a cub from its young mother and hold it up for all the other animals to see either in real life. So,
well,
you know
no, but I'm saying in the sense of that... to still stick to the original storyline, but still make it organically that if you were to go into the wildlife of how you would see it, it would be more realistic. And I think that's where Jon Favreau was going with it, that if he put more scenes into it where if you were to go into an African savanna, this is how you would see it in real life.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Now, let me ask, did that come back and bite him in the end? Because I got to be honest, yes, I have no soul. I don't cry at movies. But I really didn't cry at this one. And I was honestly expecting... I mean, Mufasa's death scene was beautiful. So well done. With that choir, as he's climbing up the mountain, and the choir gets louder and louder the higher he gets up the mountain. And you know what's coming. You know what's going to happen. And I'm expecting the tears are going to come for the first time ever in a movie for me, and nothing at all. Like I'm not sure if it was because they were trying to keep the lines so realistic that they didn't create any human emotions in the faces. I mean, like, for crying out loud, my house cat has more emotions in her face than these lions did. You know? What did you think, John?
He might have been a little too conservative, I thought.
Yeah.
But then again, I thought they must have tested it, and it didn't work for some reason.
I did read that.
Did they? I was guessing that. I didn't. Did they?
Yeah, I did read that they were testing it, and it came off too unrealistic.
Okay.
I think in the particular with Simba seeing his father falling, and he yells "No!" That part, they had it more animated.
Did he tear up? I'm surprised there were not tears coming down Simba's face.
There was no tears in the animated one. There was, but there was none in this one.
But tears wouldn't have looked bad, I think, in this.
Dumbo cried, and Dumbo was photorealistic. And that was a part of the problem we had with Dumbo too, was that the emotions just weren't there.
I actually was just looking at something on my phone before we actually started recording. A fan base person actually did a side-by-side shot of the characters in the movie, but they added some of the animated features of how they look.
It looked good. I saw it. Yeah.
Jason,
do.
you're sitting there quiet. What do you think?
Well, if the film had looked like the animated, if they'd been more emotive, if they looked more like their cartoon counterparts, I would have been into it. I really enjoyed this one. I have nothing bad to say about it. It's just, for some reason, the whole live action thing didn't click with me.
Yeah. I liked a lot of the extra stuff that they put in also. There was a scene where they were trying to get away from Zazu, Nala and Simba, and they're running with all the other animals, kind of trying to hide underneath the other giraffes and the elephants and whatnot. And there's a scene where Simba's running, and there's 3 cheetahs or 4 cheetahs running with him, and then the cheetahs take off. You can see the shock in his face. That was an emotional shock in his face right there. And I thought that was great because I could just picture, lions and cheetahs normally don't hang out together, other than maybe, not even the zoo, they're not going to put them together. But the way the cheetahs took off, it was just so realistic to me that just that little touch, I really liked that scene. Was there any little scenes like that made you guys go, I really like that little part?
Well, that's not a good sign if we all have to think about it. So,
Okay,
Stan,
well,
I'm going to say no for all of us.
Okay,
because
let's
I don't remember the animated version so much. Maybe that's why.
Yeah. In the animated version, when Zazu gets captured, Zazu never gets captured by Scar in this movie. In the animated version, I don't think he does. I don't remember him getting captured.
Yeah, and again, going back to what I was saying, in the animated, they have him, Zazu, in a little
Rib cage
made out of, like, with the bones and everything.
Yeah.
Where in the live action, to be more realistic, then they just kind of changed it up where actually Zazu helped Nala escape Pride Rock.
Yeah, exactly. And the in the animated version, that's when Zazu's in that little rib cage, and he gets called. He wants to be. Scar wants him to sing, so he sings "It's a Small World," and Scar goes, "Oh, please, not that, anything but that." And it was kind of a tip to tip of the hat to the Disney franchise. In this one, they got a different one. They have the "Be Our Guest" with Timon. Jason, go ahead.
Wait, Stan, I've come up with something nice to say. I did like the new song.
All right. A nice tip to that. Jason likes the new song.
It came at the cost of another song, but
So when Timon comes up and says the ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let me present to you. Now, did we geek out on that?
The theater literally went nuts because no one was expecting that.
Yeah,
I mean, he wasn't going to automatically dress in drag and do the hula, but
so glad they didn't do that.
Yeah, they did the animated one.
Well, where's he going to get coconuts in the savannah?
Hula and does the tiki room spiel.
What's funny is we ask where would he get coconuts, but we're totally fine with where did he learn the Beauty and the Beast song.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess the VHS was hanging out somewhere in the Serengeti.
Yeah, well, those meerkats, they got all sorts of stuff in those little household.
All sorts of stuff.
They live underground there. You don't know what they got under there.
This is true.
Screen TVs with 4K Blu-ray going.
That's
Now,
funny.
the storyline itself, it's pretty much, par for par with the original. Is this lazy writing? What do you think? Or is it did they hire a writer for this movie, honestly?
Nope. Did not need it. No, I think they purposely followed it by the numbers, no?
But, I'm thinking to myself, I sure hope those writers didn't get paid too much for this one because, wow, that was an easy job. I could have wrote this movie. Just watch the original. It's pretty much beat for beat, line by line.
Except, do you feel like they dumbed down Rafiki, anybody? Did anybody feel like he was not used correctly?
Oh, yeah, definitely. He had absolutely, out of all the characters, no personality whatsoever.
I was so surprised at that because I loved his personality.
It was kind of like they forgot to write scenes for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they just threw him in just whenever they needed him to be there.
I think it was a missed opportunity. He looked good.
Yeah. Well, he pulls out his staff out of the tree trunk. Now, how does that staff fit in a tree trunk, in the limb of a tree? I don't understand how that worked. Did that look weird to anybody else, or was that just me? He has like a staff that's like 5 feet long and it's in a tree. You know what I mean? And that tree looked an awful lot like the Tree of Life at Animal Kingdom to me.
It did.
That was
It did.
cool.
I mean, as far as the visuals go, I mean, it was spot on. I really think that as far as like with the Academy Awards go, that I think it would probably be nominated for visual effects.
Oh gosh, it has to be.
Has to be. Yeah, has to be. And probably top song, I'm thinking too. Like this music was really well done in this, and even the orchestra.
Really think this song is worth? Do you really think this new song is worth Song of the Year?
I think it's worth a nomination.
Yeah, I think it'll get nominated. Just I don't know. The Lion King music is my favorite music of all the Disney animated movies. So I had that going in, and I thought this was better. I thought the soundtrack was better than the animated movie.
Get out. Turn in your tour guide badge and get out.
Now, going back to the visuals, I remember when I saw Jurassic Park and I first saw the dinosaur, and I thought, oh, movies have changed for me. I felt that way when I saw this. I felt like, oh, okay, these are new visuals. Like this is a new realistic stuff. Did anybody get that?
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
I think
Definitely.
maybe that's why it didn't work for me, because it was too real.
Okay.
The Lion King. The Lion King is my first Hamlet for kids.
Okay.
Well, I don't like a non-cuddly Lion King.
Oh,
I don't
come on.
want
The lion cub himself was very cuddly. You didn't want to grab him and kiss him the minute you saw him?
No, that one has real teeth.
Oh no, that was the cutest little cub ever.
I know. I have 4 cats at home, and I wanted to hug him and kiss him.
Yeah. I think John's right though. Like I think Jaws changed special effects for us when it came out. Jurassic Park was another one that we're at a new level. I would say Avatar fits in that category.
Yes.
When Avatar came out, we're like, 3D is a real thing, and we could do this with movies now. And I think we'll look back at Lion King and we'll feel the same way, that this movie has had something different that kind of blew everyone away.
I just have a quick funny story going back to talking about Simba, of how cute he was. I don't know if you guys are fans of like the Blue Collar comedy tour with Bill Engvall, Jeff Foxworthy, Larry the Cable Guy. Well, Bill Engvall tells a story about his wife and everything and how she over-exaggerates things. So we're sitting in the theater, and my wife loves little cute things. The smaller, the big eyes, the little pudgy nose, the better. So everyone's all into the movie. They're watching it in the opening scene, and then Simba turns his head to face Rafiki. And you could hear a pin drop, but then again, you hear my wife, and it echoes the whole entire theater, and she goes, "Isn't he so cute?"
That's great.
I can totally picture her doing that too. I really can totally picture her doing that. And yeah, I think that whatever reason, for an emotional level, this photorealistic type animation doesn't do it. It didn't do it in Dumbo. It didn't do it here, but yet it did it in Jungle Book. I think Jungle Book did it properly. The scenes with the big ape. You know me names. Yeah. Very well done. Very, emotional. The eyes, something in the eyes. I think maybe they don't have the eyes right. I don't know what it is. But anyways, we want to do stars.
They got it too right. I don't think it's that they didn't get it right. They got it too right, and they didn't want to look cartoony or fake at all. They went for documentary style animals.
Yeah, without the blood.
Without the blood.
Yeah.
I do think that this would help an impact on Animal Kingdom, because I do think that they're now going to probably incorporate something big with the Lion King.
Well,
more bigger than what they already have.
You know what's coming to Rivers of Light now?
Do you think they're going to turn it into something?
I guess it's becoming a Lion King show.
I could too. Well, they're doing all that protect the pride stuff to raise money for the animal wildlife conservation fund, and they want to double the population of lions, and they're really serious about it. Like they got a plan to bring lions back.
And they're not lying.
They're not lying. We're not lying about conservation.
And with that, we're done.
Before we go, John, where can people find you?
BigFatPanda.com leads to my YouTube channel, and Big Fat Panda Show is Instagram and Twitter. Thank you.
And for the 4 listeners that we have that haven't seen your videos, what are your videos about?
They're just about anything, but it's mostly Disney and Universal, especially with Halloween Horror Nights, but mostly Disney. A salute to all theme parks, but mostly Walt Disney World.
Excellent. And I absolutely love watching your videos. I've seen every single one of them, I think. I don't think there's one I've missed.
Your Halloween, your Villains After Hours videos, those just made my whole day.
Thank you.
You make a great Hades.
That was the funniest thing. Some kids was like, "Oh, he's a troll." I'm like, "Oh, thanks."
Oh.
Hades is on the brochure. I tried to do as good as I could, but I guess they weren't liking a big Hades, so I was a troll. It was
I
a
thought
troll.
it was very creative.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was really well done, definitely. Guys, you anything left to say?
Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata. Oh, I wanted to ask before we go. Okay, Maleficent, Little Mermaid, Mulan. Which one are we most looking forward to?
Mulan.
Mulan. Yeah, Mulan looks great from the trailer. And I
Same
can't
here,
wait to see
Mulan.
what they do with Mushu.
Yeah, I think Mushu's in it. I heard Mushu's not in it.
I heard he's not, right. I heard maybe he's a bird or something else, but we'll see.
Okay. Yeah, so it's unanimous. We're all looking forward to Mulan the most, but I think Maleficent's our next one. So I just rewatched.
Yeah, ask that question again. Which one are we looking forward to the least?
Okay, which one are we looking forward to the least?
Maleficent.
Really? John?
I think you're going to like it, Jay.
I think I'm going to like it, but right now I'm looking at it and going, why? Why are we doing this again?
Because I think the Wicked Queen is going to be Michelle Pfeiffer, and that I want to see.
Oh.
So I think the title, Mistress of Evil, is to throw you off. I don't think it's Maleficent at all.
Okay, now
Right?
I'm much more intrigued.
I think. I'm not sure, but that I hope. I think the Mistress of Evil is going to be Michelle Pfeiffer.
Now I'm hoping it's a crossover movie with the Queen from Snow White and Maleficent.
That's what I think it's going to be.
And then it would segue into her own movie.
That's what I think.
George, what are you most looking forward to?
I'm sorry, The Little Mermaid.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I can't pick. I honestly can't pick. John, how about you?
The least?
Yeah.
It's definitely Little Mermaid because I have no idea what they're going to do with it. I really have to see a trailer. Underwater is going to be hard too.
I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with Little Mermaid. I really am. I'm also really stoked for Maleficent. I love the original Maleficent. In fact, I just watched it the other day again.
I'm optimistic about The Little Mermaid. Just out of the 3, that's my number 3.
Yeah. I think I
am very excited for Maleficent though, because I did enjoy the first one. The first time when I saw it in theaters, I was quite confused, and then it wasn't until I saw it the second time I was like, okay, now I get it.
I wasn't excited, but now I am.
Sorry, Jay?
I wasn't excited, but now I am.
I think it's going to be a good feud. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. I'm really excited. I fell asleep watching Maleficent in the theater the first time. I was super tired, and I shouldn't have went. But then I bought it on Blu-ray, and I've watched it several times, and I just love it. It's one of my favorite, full-length movies, along with Jungle Book and now The Lion King. I don't know.
I'm really thinking about this feud, and I'm wondering if we add in 2 more Disney villains, can we make it like a Disney villain Sex in the City?
That's such a Samantha thing to say.
Well, here's the weird thing. On the Villains Tonight show on the Disney Cruise Line, that the Queen and Maleficent have a feud between having a connection with Hades, so to speak, but in a very kiddish way, but they had a feud for years between who was more evil that would impress Hades.
That would explain why John dressed up as Hades. All right. Thank you for listening. Give us a review. I know.
No, don't give us a review after this one. Don't give us a review after this one, but do go check out pixiedustedreams.com for all your travel and event needs. Pixiedustedreams.com, where George and I are both travel agents, and we both love to help you out.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, John, for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Until next time, see you, gang.
If you would like to keep the adventure going after the show, be sure to like our Facebook friends page, Grand Circle Tour Magical Ticket Holders. While on Facebook, like our group page, Grand Circle Tour. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Grand Circle Tour Podcast, as well as Instagram, GCT Podcast, and our YouTube channel, Grand Circle Tour. If you would like to send us a message, you can email us at gctpodcast@gmail.com. T-shirts and other fun merchandise can be found at tpublic.com. Simply search Grand Circle Tour Podcast. If you enjoyed your adventure, leave us a review on Apple Podcast. Only one rule, make it good. Thank you for riding with us, and welcome home.